Welcome back to that 90s pod. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the life and career of a true 90s icon.
Oh, yeah.
Alicia Silverstone.
Yes.
You know her. You love her. She's Cher Horowitz
Yeah.
from Clueless.
Of course.
But she's also so much more than just that one iconic role.
Absolutely. It's really fascinating to see how her career kind of evolved from teen stardom to this passionate advocate for animal rights and environmentalism.
Right. Like rocking those plaid skirts and knee-high socks in 95, and then by 98,
Yeah.
publishing The Kind Diet and going full-on vegan.
Ah.
Pretty wild how ahead of the curve she was.
Speaking of Clueless,
Yeah.
what do you think made that movie such a phenomenon? Back then, I mean, it's almost 30 years old, and people are still obsessed with it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. It's 1995.
Yeah.
The internet's just starting to take off.
Right.
Hip-hop is blowing up, and then bam, Clueless hits the scene.
Big boy.
It was like this perfect snapshot of 90s youth culture, the
Yeah.
fashion, the slang, the whole vibe.
It really went beyond just capturing the zeitgeist, though. Clueless presented kind of a different female character.
Oh, yeah?
Cher was stylish and smart,
Yeah.
which was a pretty refreshing change from the typical teen movie tropes of the time.
So true. And she wasn't afraid to use her voice.
Mm.
Remember that scene where she's debating in class?
Oh, yeah.
Cher might have been obsessed with clothes and makeovers,
Uh-huh.
but she also cared about things like social justice and making a difference.
Exactly. It's almost like those early hints of social consciousness in Clueless kind of foreshadowed Silverstone's later activism.
Okay, so we're loving this trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
But before we go in further, we wanted to remind you to subscribe to that 90s pod and share it with your friends. We put a lot of work into bringing you these deep dives,
We do.
and your support means the world to us.
Absolutely.
Now let's get back to Alicia.
Okay.
Remember that scene where Cher's using her computer to pick out her outfit? Like a digital wardrobe?
Yes. It's crazy how that foreshadowed online shopping. Clueless was surprisingly ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
It really was. Thinking about Silverstone's activism, it's interesting how her personal journey aligned with these larger cultural shifts happening around her.
Yeah.
Veganism wasn't mainstream in the late 90s, but she embraced it wholeheartedly.
And with the Kind Diet, she didn't just adopt a vegan lifestyle.
Right.
She actively promoted it, encouraging others to consider the ethical and environmental implications of their food choices. This was way before plant-based diets became the trend they are today.
Right. She really was a pioneer in that sense. And think about the impact of her book, The Kind Diet.
Yeah.
It came out in 1998 and helped fuel this growing awareness about healthy eating and animal welfare.
What's fascinating is how Silverstone's journey went beyond just personal choices. She became one of the first major celebrities to leverage her platform to advocate for animal rights and environmentalism, paving the way for others to follow.
That's such a key point.
Yeah.
It really set a precedent for how celebrities can use their influence for social good. It's almost expected now for stars to speak out about issues they care about.
Absolutely. And Silverstone's early foray into activism helped normalize that shift. She showed that you could be successful and glamorous and still care deeply about making a difference in the world.
Totally. Okay, I have to bring this up. It's still kind of mind-blowing that Silverstone was only 18 when she played Cher.
Oh, wow.
She totally nailed that role.
I know, right? And it speaks volumes about her talent that she could embody such a complex character at such a young age.
She really did. And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
That Clueless reunion they did in 2021 for charity.
Oh, yeah.
It was so great to see the cast back together after all those years.
It just goes to show how much that movie still resonates with people. And it's a testament to the lasting impact of Silverstone's performance as Cher.
It really is. But I think what's even more remarkable is how she's managed to build a career that goes beyond that one iconic role. She's an actress, an author, an activist. She's constantly evolving and exploring new ways to express herself and make a difference.
I agree. That's true. And her evolution kind of reflects this broader cultural shift we've seen where celebrities are using their platform for social good. But let's not forget, this wasn't always the norm.
Right, and Silverstone was definitely a pioneer in that regard. But speaking of pioneers,
Yeah,
that digital wardrobe scene in Clueless was pretty innovative for its time, wasn't it?
absolutely. It's remarkable how it foreshadowed the rise of online shopping and fashion technology. It's like Clueless had a glimpse into the future of retail.
It's like they had a crystal ball on set. But you know what else is interesting?
What?
The fashion in Clueless is still so iconic today.
Totally.
People still dress up as Cher for Halloween and parties.
Yeah, it's a testament to the film's enduring legacy and its influence on fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Clueless wasn't just a movie.
Yeah.
It was a cultural phenomenon that continues to inspire trends even today.
Totally. And I think part of that enduring appeal is how Clueless challenged the stereotypical representations of young women in Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. You're right. Cher was fashionable, popular, and wealthy, but she was also kind, compassionate, and ultimately a good person. This challenged the often one-dimensional portrayals of female characters in teen movies.
Exactly. She was a complex character, flawed, but lovable. And I think that's why she resonated so much with audiences. And her evolution throughout the film is really interesting, too. She starts out as this seemingly superficial girl obsessed with clothes and makeovers, but then she starts to realize that there's more to life than appearances.
Right, and she begins to use her voice and her influence to help others. Remember how she takes Ty under her wing and tries to give her a makeover, but then realizes that true beauty comes from within.
It's true. And she even uses her debating skills to help a friend pass her driving test. Cher might have been clueless about some things, but she was also incredibly resourceful and always willing to lend a hand.
Yeah, those moments of growth and self-awareness in Clueless actually mirror Silverstone's own personal journey. She started out as this teen idol, but then evolved into this passionate advocate, using her platform to raise awareness about issues she cared about.
Before we go any further, we wanted
Yeah.
to give a quick shout out to all our amazing listeners.
What up?
If you're loving this deep dive into Alicia Silverstone and all things 90s,
Yes.
make sure you hit that subscribe button and tell your friends about that 90s pod.
Come on, guys.
We love sharing these 90s blasts from the past with you. Okay, now back to Alicia's incredible journey. One thing that's always struck me about Silverstone is her authenticity. Whether she's playing Cher Horowitz or advocating for animal rights, she always seems genuine and true to herself.
I totally agree. And that authenticity is a big part of her appeal. It makes her relatable, even when she's talking about things that might be outside of some people's comfort zones. She's not afraid to be vulnerable and share her own struggles, which I think makes her message even more powerful.
Absolutely. And she's never been afraid to challenge the status quo, whether it's through her fashion choices,
Right.
her lifestyle, or her activism. Take her decision to go vegan in the late 90s, for example. It was a bold move at a time when plant-based diets weren't as mainstream as they are today.
Exactly. And she didn't just quietly adopt a vegan lifestyle. She wrote a book about it. The Kind Diet, sharing her personal journey and encouraging others to consider the ethical and environmental implications of their food choices. It was a really powerful statement, especially coming from someone with such a high profile.
Right. She really put herself out there, and I think that's what makes her such an inspiring figure.
Yeah.
She's not afraid to stand up for what she believes in, even if it means going against the grain.
And that's what true leadership is all about. It's about having the courage to speak your truth and inspire others to do the same. And I think that's what Silverstone has done throughout her career. She's used her platform to shine a light on issues that matter to her, and in doing so, she's empowered others to find their own voices and make a difference.
I couldn't agree more. Now let's talk a little bit more about her post-Clueless career. It's easy to get caught up in the nostalgia of that iconic role, but she's done so much other amazing work both on and off screen.
You're absolutely right. She starred in a variety of films, from independent dramas to comedies, showcasing her range as an actress. And she's also been very active on Broadway, taking on challenging roles and earning critical acclaim.
It's impressive how she's managed to build this diverse and fulfilling career beyond the shadow of Clueless. It shows a real commitment to her craft and a willingness to push herself creatively.
And that dedication is evident in everything she does. Whether she's acting, writing, or advocating for a cause, she brings a level of passion and authenticity that's truly inspiring.
And I think that's what ultimately makes her such a compelling figure. She's more than just a 90s icon. She's a multi-talented artist, a compassionate activist, and a role model for anyone who wants to use their voice to make a difference in the world.
Well said. And her journey is a reminder that we can all evolve and grow, embracing new passions and finding ways to make a positive impact.
So true. It's been fascinating exploring the different facets of Alicia Silverstone's career in activism, from those iconic plaid skirts in Clueless to her powerful advocacy for animal rights. She's left an undeniable mark on pop culture and beyond.
Absolutely. And her story continues to inspire and remind us that we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how big or small.
It really has been an interesting journey exploring Alicia Silverstone's career.
It really has. And, circling back to Clueless for a moment, I think one of the things that makes it so enduring is that it wasn't just a teen movie. It actually had some really smart social commentary woven into the narrative.
Oh, totally. Like what?
Well, for one, it tackled class and social hierarchy in a really clever way. Cher might have been part of the wealthy elite at her high school,
Right.
but the film doesn't shy away from showing the disparity between her world and that of the less fortunate students.
That's a good point. Like, remember when she gives Ty a makeover
Hmm.
and tries to elevate her social status? It's presented as this fun, lighthearted montage, but it also subtly critiques the idea that popularity and worth are tied to material things and appearances.
Exactly, and the film also touches on themes of self-discovery and personal growth. Cher starts out as this somewhat superficial character,
Yeah.
but through her experiences and relationships, she learns valuable lessons about empathy, compassion, and the importance of looking beyond surface appearances.
And that's what makes her such a relatable character.
Yeah.
She's flawed, but she's also trying to be a better person. Kind of like all of us, right?
Absolutely. I think that's why Clueless continues to resonate with audiences even today. It's funny, stylish, and entertaining, but it also has something to say about the human experience.
It really does. And speaking of saying something, it's fascinating to see how Silverstone's career has evolved beyond acting. She's become a successful author, a passionate advocate for animal rights, and a voice for environmental awareness.
Right. She could have easily just coasted on her Clueless fame,
Yeah.
but she chose to use her platform to speak out about issues she cared about.
And she's done it with such grace and authenticity. It's clear that her activism comes from a place of deep personal conviction. Like, she's not just jumping on a bandwagon or trying to be trendy. She's been a vegan for decades, long before it was cool, and she's written books about it, sharing her personal journey and her philosophy on healthy and ethical eating.
And let's not forget her work with animal rights organizations and her advocacy for environmental sustainability. She's constantly using her voice to raise awareness and inspire change.
It's really inspiring to see someone use their fame for good like that. And it makes you think, what kind of impact can we make in our own lives, even if we don't have millions of followers on social media?
That's a great question. I think Silverstone's story reminds us that we all have the power to make a difference, whether it's through our everyday choices, our activism, or simply by speaking out about issues we care about.
So true. And on that note, we want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the life and career of Alicia Silverstone. We've explored her iconic role in Clueless, her evolution as an actress, her passionate activism, and the lasting impact she's made on pop culture and beyond.
It's been a wild ride back to the 90s, and we hope you've enjoyed it.
If you did, be sure to subscribe to That 90s Pod and share it with your friends. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into all things 90s.
Until then, stay rad.